And welcome back for another one. This one hopefully going to be a quick one. CCT South Europe Series reaching playoffs. So another partner game, and yeah, let's have a look. Undefined, they're actually playing right now, I think, and they're not really doing well against Masonic. Yeah, first map 16-9, and at the moment, I don't really have much faith in them because they recently started playing together. They don't really have any uh, strong maps yet. Maybe they're gonna be half decent at some like old maps like Inferno. Maybe they're gonna be decent at Vertigo or something like exactly exactly how it is. And yeah, they need some time to actually become viable team. Even though I don't really have any faith in them. Uh, for me, it's just another team that's there to farm. That's it. I don't expect anything from them. I wish them luck, but I don't expect anything from them. So for these reasons, it's an obvious one. Most likely 2-0 for me for Bad News Eagles. Eyeballers against Honoris. Um, Eyeballers are actually been doing not that bad recently, so I would say they have a decent chance of beating Honoris, even though Honoris are on the rise. But still, this one gonna be a close one. So for me, it's like 50-50. But whoever wins, still gonna lose to Bad News Eagles. So for me, Bad News Eagles already advanced into the semifinals. Uh, Flames against Godsend. This is the interesting one, and I actually have faith in Godsend in this one. Even though Regali Rals are kind of stronger than core duo of Godsend, but every other position is losing to the Godsend's players. So for me, it's most likely going to be like 2-1 for Godsend, but again, anything can happen. Uh, a good day for one of the players from the Copenhagen Flames, and Bird from Sky gets his information from the sky, and that's it. Nothing can be done. Uh, Apex against iNation. Um, well, iNation had their run. Apex are kind of getting better, but still, I'm not sure they're gonna go all the way. But if we're talking about this particular game, most likely Apex 2-1 again, and then they're gonna face Godsend, which they already faced, I think, a couple of times, and they beat them pretty easily. But right now, I believe it's a great option for Godsend to actually show that they're worth something. And after the couple of game sample, so you have the information on the enemy, on the opponent, so you can do reviews, you can do some anti-strats, and if Godsend are here to actually uh, be a recognizable force, um, they can take this one to all three maps and perhaps even take a W on this one. It's gonna be an upset, yes, but it's still possible. If Godsend advances to play against Bad News Eagles, um, it's gonna be a tough one for the Eagles because they most likely won't have any reads on Godsend, and yeah, Godsend can surprise them as well. That one can go all the way three maps, but if we're being realistic, then that should be easy W for Bad News Eagles, and yeah, nothing else to say. If Apex advances, then Bad News Eagles against Apex is going to be a very interesting matchup. Most likely, again, going to go all the way, three maps, and Bad News Eagles have a slight advantage. I would say like 55-45 in this one, and Bad News Eagles have the really good chance to go to the grand final all the way because first game probably 2-0, second game most likely 2-0 as well. Then the third game is 2-1, and then whoever they're gonna face in the final, uh, I would say they are the strongest team in the whole event, right? So unless something happens to the players or I don't know maybe to their connection, they should be taking this event. But on the other side, we never know how it's gonna end. It's a tier 2 event, and if we look at the prize pool, it's only 22k. So again, this majority of these teams, like tier 1-ish, uh, they kind of taking this as a practice, right? For teams like Godsend, Eyeballers, Apex, Aurora Monte, 322, Sangal, for them, this event is actually a really good choice and a really good chance to show what they actually worth and can they actually be competing on the highest level, right? So mm, now the lower bracket, Aurora against Monte. This one is interesting. Monte right now have a slight edge, but again, Norvik and Silatic is a great core. I'd say I believe a bit more in them than into Monte. And in RMR, I'll be also cheering for the Aurora guys. I actually like the way Latic is playing. He's he's really great, and I believe this can be the event where um, probably the whole Europe can actually recognize his force. And yeah, just before the RMR, he can be a really great option to actually pick. So for me, like my first play gonna be Latic that I'm gonna go through, and obviously uh, they're gonna play against Monte, which is eh, interesting option. But again, I have faith into Aurora, so I'm gonna take them. But this game is 50-50 again, right? Uh, 500 against in the beach bridge. This one should be easy 2-1 for into the bridge because the 500 they're gonna throw the game most likely. We never know how it's gonna end exactly, but let's be honest, most likely it is gonna end up as a blown up lead of something like 14-6 and OT or something like that on one of the maps. It's a classic 500 game. Uh, Now jokes aside, 500 most likely gonna take this one, and in the game against Aurora, mm, probably 2-1 win for Aurora. I'm not gonna be surprised if 500 actually beats them, but I have to stick with my gut and go for Aurora. Sungull against Alternate Attacks. Finally, AA got rid of a long time placeholder and paycheck stealer. Finally, he moved to um, the coaching position, Crystal, I think. And now they actually have a lineup that maybe gonna upgrade them to tier 2, but again, it's gonna take some time, right? And I'm not really sure these players are ready. Like Slacks and Speedy, okay, yeah, sure, we all know about them, but the rest of the players, they kind of weird. And for Sangol, this should be a W. Then 9 against Prospects. Well, 9 are on the rise. Prospects are interesting, but again, uh, prospects, they are just waiting for the opportunity to move to a better team. So probably after the major, some teams gonna make changes, and the first team that's gonna be taken apart, most likely, what tier 2 opposition for some Swedish rosters or whatever, is gonna be prospects. If we look at their stats, they're quite decent. If we look at the players, they 71st position right now, so they're quite decent. um, Matches, they did they doing quite good on tier 2 events and so on and so on. So yeah, again, this should be easy for 9. Then 9 against Sangal. Uh, Sangal has a chance, but in general, this should be a W for 9. And then 9 against Aurora. Uh, my brain is saying 9 probably should be taking this, but again, it's a Polish team. You never know what's gonna happen. And as I already said, Aurora has a really good core with the Norvik and Latic. And Selter can occasionally bring good numbers. Also, Lucky is having a potential, despite that he doesn't really have a greatest rating. He still can bring good numbers. And for this reason, like that's an X factor for me why Aurora can actually beat Nine and advance to the final. And again, as I said, in the final, Bad News Eagles against Aurora. That's most likely scenario in my eyes. And with this scenario, again, Bad News Eagles should be winning, but this can be a time where we see like another CIS team just surprising everyone and winning like a CCT event, right? Like Team Spirit Academy did. So same can happen with Aurora easily. Uh, but again, they can choke against Monte, they can choke against 500, they can choke against 9, but these type of games are actually testing you and showing what you're actually capable of. Now, let's just jump into, and obviously Latic is my pick number 1, and because I believe that Bad News Eagles should be winning this if they're actually going to participate. Because like last time, as I said, there was a very good chance that they're not going to play, and they actually didn't. So Synopsy and Scenario is a good option, but why should I pick Bad Player if, let's say, not really a team that's going to fill up, but the team that's going to go all the way. So Synopsy is a player that's most likely for me going to have a decent rating. Then, if we choose from GXX and Flatro, uh, probably GXX is gonna have more impact, and he's playing the op, so he's not gonna die that many times. So it's a decent option. Then Selter and Lucky. Um, these are the two players that I have to pick from, right? Um, Selter is a better option, and I have to go with him. Is 1.15 rating in majority of the games will be more than enough for me. And I'll have 191k left, which obviously gives me quite few options, right? I can go for player from 9. If I move Selter and take, let's say, Lucky and use him as an IGL, I have 201k, which for 9 play is not enough. Um, Anyone else is interesting option, but again, not really worth it. Joel is 203k. Mm, interesting. Synopsy still gonna be 1k short. Unless I wanna do it this way. Unless I wanna pick Rigon and use him as an IGL. And we all know that Rigon can actually bring good numbers. Then I can probably use Selter again. And in this case, I'll have 198k left again, not enough. Unless I use Lucky again as an IGL, but double IGLing is not the greatest option for me. Then this opens up many options, um, including Joel. I believe it's time for him to actually wake up. Who else can I actually consider? Soulfly, QB, Fuzzy, Corey, interesting options. Killer, let's just double check the bracket. They are all the way down. We're gonna play Sungo, and they actually have a good chance to go all the way. So probably Killer is a great option. If we're gonna do it this way, not enough. Synopsis is already in team, and Rigon. So um, double Aurora, double Bad News Eagles, and Killer as a filler. Um, sounds actually decent. Lucky with his 1 point something rating is always a good choice. Rigon, uh, majority of the games, he is kind of moving to the supportive role, and he doesn't really get those crazy numbers as he used to. More or less has like 1k deep, but he's actually kind of getting back on track, and he's playing again more supportive role. Uh, if we check, let's say, Scenario, his numbers, um, matches 147. Bad numbers, bad numbers. Mm, interesting. So with a price difference of 10k, even 14k, we gain kind of the same numbers. So maybe it's even better choice to use Scenario over here than Rigon, and grab Synopsy and have 200k left, which leaves me open to Celter. And then I have 212. Still not enough for Hades. But if I do it this way with Lucky, then it leaves me open to any of these players. Interesting. Interesting. Hades, okay. Actually, Hades is a decent option for the second Opera, and I still have like 4k extra left. Am I happy with this lineup? I don't know, we'll see. But Synopsy is very cheap for a player that's occasionally hits really, really good numbers. So I'm gonna probably stick with this. Opa, probably Stat Hunter or Entry Frag on Hades. Then Scenario is gonna be my support player. Synopsy Defender or Multifrag, maybe Multifrag even. And Lucky as an IGL or as a support. IGL support, Defender, Headshot. Yeah, IGL. Uh, Boosters aren't ready yet, but still, like mix and match. There are many good opportunities to actually gamble on this event, and yeah, one of them is obviously Godsend. My upset Aurora. Even if you're supporting Monte, you still can build a pretty decent lineup. But yeah, for me, that's the lineup I have to go with, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.